loop. You guys think it's time for a new intro?
Just needs music.
I think it's pretty good.
All right, cool. Maybe one more season. What's up, everybody? We're back. It's your boy Joe Reezy, and I'm here with the OGs, Andrew and Jermaine, taking it back to our roots, you know, in light of nostalgic November. But before we dive in, don't forget to swing by safelightcandle.com, our sponsors, and also check us out at cave.com. That's K4V3.com. So before we begin and introduce our guest, we're out of the rabbit hole. Done with the conspiracy stuff for now. Jermaine, it was crazy. Homunculus, other stuff I don't want to say early on our podcast, so we can keep this episode safe and not get flagged. You know what I mean?
We don't have to put on the tinfoil this time.
Yeah, but I was going to say after that, like, you know, let's not get into any slippery slopes and fall into the rabbit hole. So I'm going to try to kind of keep it surface level and down to earth. You know what I mean? But yeah, tinfoil is a deep rabbit hole too. But we got AP Quentino Pasquale over here. He is an artist from Bentley Records. It's a collective that might sound familiar, and if it sounds familiar, you probably know him from Oriz and Mel. They're part of Bentley Records. AP, what's going on? Welcome to the cave, man.
Hey, Jarizi, thank you. I appreciate it. Shouts out to Mel and Oriz, like you said, Bentley artists, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. How you doing? Where are you located at? Are you in the West Coast, East Coast?
So I'm in the Midwest, Chicagoland area, about 30, 45 minutes north of there right now. Where I'm from is Cicero and Borough and Taylor Street, the north side of Chicago.
Okay. Chicago, home of the greats.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much everybody from Bentley Records. They're from all over the country, it sounds like. Is that right?
Yeah, all over the world. I mean, there's artists in Europe that I've networked with and built since coming on to Bentley Records. What it is that I'm learning as I go, it's more of an independent artist platform, and they've signed other major artists along the way, but it enables you to do things that where you couldn't do without having them. For example, like Oriz is doing that huge song with Lil Wayne. Shouts out to him. And Hunter Boy is also an artist at Bentley. I'm going to be doing a track with Wiz Khalifa, and it's
nice.
It's unbelievable, to say the least. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without Bentley. So what they do is they open doors where, as an independent artist, you can get features with big artists. You can promote your music with marketing campaigns. You could do merchandise like this. So they give you all kinds of different things on a platform that it's like they call it the, you know, biggest platform in your hand. You can do it from your phone, your computer, but it's revolutionizing music in a distribution way because they distribute your music to 290 stores. And it's just like anything else, as far as a business standpoint, you got to invest in yourself or your business and in your people. And that's what they are big advocates. So what I'm learning on the platform is just like anything else. The more you invest, the more you're going to get the opportunity to do things like crossing paths with Oriz in Vegas. I met him. I met Luca Days, the CEO of Bentley Records, twice now. I'm going to see him a third time. So it's a process, and it's one of the most difficult businesses and things I've learned. I'm in my 30s like Oriz, so it's been really interesting because I pursued and made music half my life, but it's been a long journey, and just to get to this point, it's been because of Bentley Records. So to answer your question with information, it's an independent label that gives you a platform to do things that you can't without, you know, having the help of professionals in that area.
Nice. Well, what's your role in Bentley Records? Are you primarily an artist with Bentley Records?
So primarily started as an artist, and they have this saying that I like. I'm a big believer in words and different slogans or sayings, and it's not what you make, but more of what you become. I know money's a big thing in the world, but, you know, touching people along the way in your journey in life and things like that. So Oriz and I, when we met in Las Vegas and had this Bentley Records workshop, and then we were there with a mentorship program called the EMC, we were presented with the opportunity from Bentley to entertain being their tour managers, and that's coming up here in the next month and a half, and Oriz and I are the two people leading that. So it's been
nice.
it's been very humbling, and I'm honored at the same time because, I got kids, and, a lot of artists are really younger, and being in your 30s, age is a number, but at the same token, it's like I said, you don't know, who you become. It's more of that than what you make, their slogan. So it's been really interesting, and I'm really excited about it.
That's cool. So do you see yourself like climbing that ladder in Bentley Records, trying to, get up to some bigger positions up in Bentley Records?
I love music. Music's my passion in life, and it's a form of poetry expression. I believe in raw authenticity. It's great to have a sound like people and things like that. So I still want to focus on being an artist, but to be in any part of business with music, I love that, because I think that, anytime that you get to truly work and do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life because you're doing what you love. So essentially, no one needs Drake or Weekend fame, but the music industry and business, there's enough piece of the pie for everyone to have some. So I'd love to work that ladder in the business sense of things, because I'm learning too, you can't always be an artist. There's a lot of branding, diversification with monetizing, whether it's a food, a beverage, a clothing, whatever, you know what I mean? So to answer your question, it'd be something that I hope to do one day, like some of the greats that I consider entrepreneurs, where they go on from music and create franchises, restaurants, and so forth, and then give back to the community as well. So
that's cool. Yeah, this sounds like Jay-Z stuff to me, man.
Yeah.
Like becoming the president of Def Jam and still putting out some records. So that's really cool.
Yes, sir.
What do you find more in like fulfillment in? And do you find more fulfillment in recording your own music or producing others?
I'm not big on the production side of things from an engineering standpoint. I'm more of networking and building, bringing people together. I like the part of expression and building the song. I think that's the best part. Oriz has been saying something on one of your guys' shows. He said it about artists being in a cave and just, this term of throwing stuff in a microwave and then spewing it out, like the collaboration effort and what COVID did, removing a lot of things where there's human interaction and this whole digital thing. So my favorite part of it is actually in the making, because you really get the raw part of an artist if there's depth to the lyrics and the music, right. And there's, not like, we're not talking about a car and a song. We're not talking about, that's cool or entertaining things, but like something that people could relate to in the whole part of music. That part I love the best, because then your brains are working together. Like you're like, okay, what's the subject here? What are we going with? Is there, is it emotion? Is it intense? Is it a vibe song? Are we, smoking and riding and chilling? Are we getting lit in the club? Is it fucking turned up? You know what I mean? So are we talking about something like that touches deep, where like some woman or family member we lost, emotion wise? Yeah. So that's my favorite part, is creating the fucking song and the art itself. Right.
So you said you're in your 30s. We're all in our 30s as well, so we all grew up in the same era. So I just want to know, growing up, I felt like in the 90s there was a lot of great music that we all grew up on. So what are some inspirations you draw from then and do you apply that till today, or have you adapted to the new sounds?
You're proper, right? Is that what they call you?
Yeah.
I heard some of your stuff with the Oriz is dope, brother.
Thanks, man. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it was like 2019 or 2020, maybe 2021.
Oh, yeah. Probably he just released them, but we recorded those a long time ago.
Okay, I got you. Well, they're dope, but
Thanks,
I'd say to answer your question, a wide variety mixture. Who you see behind me, Pac, Biggie. I was never big on the battle of the coasts. I was more of the art and what the sound they've brought. I love the R.I.P. Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, Metallica, Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, a wide variety of different sounds. Even out west, out there in the Bay Area, like E40, what he did with P-Lo, the Heartbreak Gang and them, all of them. Like there's a different variety of sounds that I come from out there, like even Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, Dr. Dre, the original Chronic, all that with Death Row Records and Suge Knight. And then we can bring it back to the East, but stop in the Midwest. I mean, Twista, Common, Lupe Fiasco, people you don't hear about today with the new generation of artists, and just, you know, the whole
Shout out Lupe.
Yeah, Lupe. So even back then, but to take it further back, like LL Cool J, you know, Beastie Boys, Big L, the old hip hop originators of sound, like mashing up Aerosmith and Run DMC, the whole Walk This Way thing. Like, we were big into that shit too. We were like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, they did this shit when they were pounding on the wall in the music video. So like all those sounds, I'd say like it was all rap, hip hop from the 90s and the early 2000s, then like rock and roll, but like a mixture of more a heavy metal. Even like sometimes Pantera, I think, was in there. Like, we were listening to Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, This Love, You Take This Love. You know what I mean? Like, we were like, that fucking sounds dope, the way they were hitting all those frequencies and on the guitar. You know, R.I.P. Dimebag Darrell. So just a wide array of rock, rap, and hip hop. And then I'd say it turned into when a lot of the alternative hit for me, it was like an RIP to him, Chester Benningfield from Linkin Park. We were listening to Blink 182 a lot, Stone Temple Pilots. There's even what's his name, Henry Rollins. Some of that shit was crazy. You know what I mean? So even all that stuff back in the rock and alternative. Foo Fighters came out after, you know, Dave Grohl was part of Nirvana. People don't even know that. I'm like, fucking Google it. You know what I mean? So like, even then at a certain point, it's like, if you really listen to music and hear the sounds, that's kind of like what I came up on and grew up on. But from like earlier, old school Italians, I'm 100% Italian. My family, my grandparents came straight up the boat. I remember listening to jazz. You know, they were listening to Frank Sinatra, the whole Rat Pack, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin. I remember all the time, like, the Italian one in my family going nuts for like Frank Sinatra, even Elvis Presley, like the bra thrown on stage back then. So I remember hearing You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, Blue Suede Shoes, Jail Rock, all that shit. So
nice. It's cool. It's cool that you have like such a wide variety of interest in music, because when you ask someone a lot, when you like, oh, I like music, and you ask them, oh, what do you like? And it's just one genre. You know, I don't think you could say you like music and stick to one genre. It's just
true.
It doesn't make sense to me. So it's cool to hear that you have all of these musical influences as far as your background, and it's cool as an artist to kind of implement that into your own art and interpret it. Like, this is what I grew up on. Maybe people can hear those little hints of those influences. So it's cool to hear from, you went from like LL Cool J, then you went down the deep end, like to Pantera, or, you know, so that was cool. But like with how music is now, how do you feel? I mean, obviously it's a cliche question. Obviously people are gonna say, well, back then music was a lot better, but there's some good gems nowadays. And what are artists you think that are still keeping it to its roots, as opposed to people who are trying to make something new, but it's not working?
No, that's a great question, brother. And thank you on everything you said before that, with all the different, you know, went from Pantera back to the other end of the spectrum. I think that what's today is missing, that artists from back then or that are still relevant now, say that you know, make a timeless classic, something that people are going to listen to all the time. Like, I think 50 Cent in the Club just went diamond, you know, something like that. Like, and he said 20 some years, you know, and said create a classic.
Timeless.
Andre 3000 said it from Outkast recently too, something about artists not wanting to create art and trying to sound like other artists, or you know, not being raw. It's like, or trying to make a hit. It's like, don't worry about making the hit, just make the song and make the art. So I think like artists that stay relevant in the demographic of every age are all the big names that can still relate to people, whether they're hitting a certain song, like I said earlier, emotion, getting lit, you're hanging with the homies, you're going to see the lady, you have an emotional song, whatever it is. So, you know, and all those big ones. I don't listen to Drake a lot. I know he has a lot of appeal to people like that, but like you heard me say, like, I think Outkast or people like that still have a big brand out there where they could bring a song, 50 Cent, same thing, 20, 30 years ago, and it's still relevant today. So, and he's also something I touched on earlier. All of them they got branding, clothes, food, beverage. They turn themselves into what you guys said, Jay-Z, Hova, The Rock. It's a branding. It's an entrepreneur. It's a Diddy. It's a wave. I mean, you got Trill Burgers. You got E40's got all the food that he's got with burritos and all the spoon with the spoon. It's like, man, the money they're making outside of that with music. So like when you say that, those artists, you could name the legends and icons, and that's why they become that, because they've taken their money, and I think that concept they've done is they're not working for their money. They're having the money that they make work for them. So
right. I mean, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Well, not just that. Like they'll go rap about how cool it is to get those products, and then the diehard fans listen to that and they're like, "Oh man, I got to get that toothpaste." If you sell some toothpaste, if you sell some toothpaste or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly it's working. It's working for Snoop Dogg, one of the highest paid, rappers who's not.
No,
really
it worked for Diddy, bro. Like all the fucking alcohol shit that they were rapping about, that was his shit that they were really rapping about,
right.
Or they were in works to sign a deal to collaborate on some kind of like ad or something between the two of them. So it's a good way to not only push out a product but also take control of the marketing, because you know your audience, you know what I mean? So I think that's why damn, you guys brought me back in the rabbit hole. There's a conspiracy theory that rock music and the hippie movement was CIA, you know what I mean? Because now we involve drugs into the game, where it's weed, LSD. Some people take fucking ecstasy to go to these festivals, and we could talk about frequencies and the beats and all that, but just the message, right? Like if we go back to primitive days, like music was always present in the culture, right? Like even before fucking written history or written language was around, I think music and chants and songs were what dominated history, spoken history, spoken tongue and tales, and even religious beliefs. But now, like, you guys we're all about the same age, 30s, like, to the window, to the wall, to the sweater. Sounds kind of weird now in your mid 30s, you know what I'm saying?
But it's still stuck in my mind.
But I still sing that shit.
Lyric any day.
I mean, it was so iconic too, It was just, that was an era where the music was all about the hook, and no one cared about the content of what they were rapping, because if you actually listen to the whole song, you're like, wow, it was actually kind of trash, but it was that whole chorus that got you.
This was a banger, though.
Yeah, right? It was just all about the chorus, because the whole point was that you're in the club or whatever, and you're turned up, and you're going to fucking scream that whole
I was
chorus.
a freshman, bro. You talking about club, dog? You talking about like homecoming dance and shit?
No, what we're talking about is when they made that music, the whole point was for people to just turn up to. I mean, not us, but when they were making that, like, people were going to the clubs just singing that shit. Even Chris Rock made a bit about that. He's talking about how he met his wife and she was dancing to the sweat drip down my balls. That's just what the music was at the time.
She was just talking about balls.
I will say, you guys can chime in. I will say, the time we were in the clubs, I mean, even if we go to the club right now, we have the hardest like club music ever. You know what I'm saying? Talking about like our parents dancing to some disco shit. You know what I mean? Our uncles dancing to some sweat drop down my balls. I mean, when you hear that shit in the club, that's considered old school and throwback. But I mean, like the real shit that they play in the club, that shit goes hard. It's kind of raunchy and shit, but I mean, I feel like in the catalog of club music, we're at a golden era right now. You know what I mean?
It definitely is, but it's also coming to an era where everyone's getting so, that whole cancel culture and everything. Oh my God, that music's so misogynistic. And it's just, we're getting to a point where the music kind of gets, I feel like it's going to get so watered down that you can't really speak on. It's going to be like Kids Bop.
Kids Bop in the club.
Kids Bop sells.
Like, you can't write a song and say some misogynistic shit. Even, I mean, I'm not saying that misogyny is cool or anything, but that was the point of the music. You were just supposed to get in the vibe or whatever. And, and now it's just more of, oh my God, he said this, cancel him. It's there's like limitations to artists now because of this. You kind of they're boxing. I mean, for you, what would you say, like as an artist, do you feel like you're kind of boxed in now with that kind of mentality?
Yeah.
No.
Also being an artist who is inspired by such a wide range of artists, you know what I mean? It's like I can go Lupe, I can go Busta, I can go Pusha T, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard. I mean, as far as we all used to rap, so being inspired by a bunch of different rappers, it's kind of hard for the listener to be like, who you sound like, you know what I mean? Because you kind of have to sound uniform. So how do you handle that aspect of the game?
Some of the guys that I record with, or from a production standpoint, they say they're shooting free throws. So when they do that, they say they want to hit a different genre every time. And what they said with me certain times when I'd come across is like, don't rap so much. They're like, if you want to build a song and structure it, and if you want to do it this way, or are you going into freestyle, or what are we doing here? So when it got to that, I think that the sound, in the sense of what we were trying to create, came out itself. I don't ever filter what I say, and I think that's the best part of what Maurice and I were trying to do. We talked about how things went from, like you just said, misogynist. You can't talk about a woman this way in the strip club, tits, ass, pussy, whatever the fuck it is, or you're womanizing, you're doing this. But the same token there's this whole world that people don't understand that exists, where 2 Chainz and Moneybagg, and all these motherfuckers are creating strip club bangers that they're climbing up and down them pole, and then they're coming back down, and boom, you know what I mean? So we did a song called 80s Sauce, and that was our whole vibe when we went to the strippy, and we made that song that way. And so I didn't give a fuck what I said that, because I'm giving people the reality of what they would be with if we were there. So then when it came back to other songs, I've got a song called Rotten Tomatoes and Throwing Tomatoes, where Rotten Tomatoes is it's a whole minute and 42 seconds of freestyle, and it's all about my life, but I keep it vague enough to where people can relate, and there's subliminal lines in there. But then Throwing Tomatoes is a structured song, and I even gave shouts out, like I said, R.I.P. to Sanford and Son, right when they passed, that breakfast hash, fried, wake and bake, smell that Folgers brewing, say our squad screws, couple loose. I just went with it there. I was in the moment, and that line stuck with it. But if people know, you guys would all know what the fuck I'm saying. So when it came to that, to answer your question, is I didn't care, because if people were gonna relate, they'll know. If they don't, that's what you guys said, this watered down, or drinking that Kool-Aid, or it's oh, I got that shirt or that chain, that guy's got that, or what you stand for and believe in that. So that's where I don't ever filter or worry about what I'm gonna say, because I think that what initially will come out is not offensive or in a derogatory manner where someone would take it the wrong way, because if that is that way, those people don't understand it, and I don't want them listening anyway. You know what I mean? It's I don't want fame or a lens. I want the money and the Benz for the squad and the journey and the team and the people you touch along the way. So with that whole the Hollywood look, or you know what I mean, that thirst trap, you know what I mean, all that bullshit. That's where I think the same thing touches with the music. It's so you're gonna worry about what you say and do, but not come from the heart with what you're trying to convey in your words and your music. So for me, even Eminem, huge influence for me. So when it came to my shit, I got that a lot, in G-Eazy comparison a lot, but more of Eminem because of how raw and unfiltered it was. And I spit fast when I rap if I'm not rapping slower. So I always didn't give a fuck what I said in my raps, and especially because what I've born into and came into, I couldn't do music for a certain amount of time. So once I told people to fuck off, it was I'm going all in, and I'm saying what I want, because some people went to jail and people got in trouble in my life and my worlds that I was born into, and it was well, if you're going to do these things or not, and are you really going to do the music? Because I've been making music for 17 years, and I showed Reese when I met him in person, over 300 songs in my phone. I've only released 70-some songs in 3 years. So it was yeah, I'm fucking doing this. And I'm saying what I want to say. I talk about my sons in there. I got 2 different sons with 2 different women. I talk about my brothers. I don't say them. My father, who is, Italian and from Chicago. And then my mother, who was a Hell's Angel, who I don't know. So in a lot of my music, if I'm talking about that stuff and fan, like I go all in, and what I'm saying, people understand and make sense. But at the same token, you know, I think that music, when it comes from the heart, is the best. So I don't ever worry about filtering it or thinking about that ever. It doesn't ever even come to mind.
That's dope. So I want to dial it back a little bit just to kind of get an understanding of your history as an artist. How far back would you say that you know, when you actually decided, like, you know, this is something I want to pursue, this is something I want to do? And what was your earliest influence to say that convinced you, like, I want to do what they're doing, I want to be like that?
I'd say the first time I ever thought about anything with music was 12 or 13.
Okay.
We were making our own songs. We freestyle rap over whoever artist we were listening to. If we were in someone's backyard hanging out in a basement, if we were in the street or in the city, whatever we were fucking doing. But then, like, to pursue it the way I have recently, where I like looked at things from the perspective of that whole analogy, where you don't need all of this big pie that you see all these big celebrity style artists have. There's enough where, like, if you get a certain audience or demographic that you could pursue and push this and make a business out of it. When I saw other artists doing that, I'd say like Little Skies, other smaller independent artists, even like Joyner Lucas, he's still independent, doing it from that standpoint. I was like, you know what? If you do it the right way and you believe in something and you manifest it, you could do anything you set your mind to a certain extent of reality, that is, of course. And that's where I said, you know, I got deep into writing. I think 2014, 2013. My first son had been born. He was a couple years old, and I hated the job I was at. And I'm just like, I can't stand. And it was a shitty shift. It was like 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. and then on Saturdays 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. So it was like a 60-some hour shift in a fucking plant, and I had to drive 45 minutes there. I was like, I can't fucking say this. I'm on the forklift thing. I'm trying to fucking rap and freestyle. I got headphones in. I'm getting yelled at by the union stewards and shit. So I think at that time, like, I really dove into the writing, and I started to record and not release anything. So that was about 10 or 11 years ago. And then 3 years ago was when someone saw me in a bar, and I wasn't drunk. I was there handling another business, but I was having a drink, and the song came out, and I just rapped the whole song word for word, was enjoying the vibe. And they're like, can I record you? And I'm like, you want to record me? And he's like, yeah. He's like, do you do music? Do you record? I'm like, I've been writing for a while, and I've been recording low key, but not releasing anything because I didn't really know how to record myself. So he recorded me, and from there, this is where it's gotten. It's been 3 years since then. So like he's a legit guy. He does film, but he knows how to do, you know, obviously music, audio recording. He goes back and forth from LA to Chicago. And then he introduced me to a bunch of people out in Chicago that I record with, either on the south side, or I'll come out to Lake County area and record with them. There's multiple places they operate out of. So
right. I think the number one thing that people look at when they look at artists, how successful they are, you know, and everyone gets so caught up like, oh, I want to be like that. And, oh, you know, like they say, they never show their failures. So I want to know, like, obviously this industry is not very easy. We all know that. It's not a secret, but what are the downs you've faced and you've got up every time and said, nah, I'm not going to let that keep me down. I'm going to keep pushing because this is what I want. Because, you know, in everything you pursue, there's always going to be that you feel like you're up and it knocks you down again. So what keeps you going, getting back up is what I want to ask you. And, you know, what are the downs you faced, just to give people an idea of, like, this is not an easy thing. This is not as easy as just writing a song and spit into a beat. There's a lot of hard work that comes into putting the stuff together.
Yeah, it's I'd say consistency is key, just like anything else. And the more consistent you are, I think, you know, there's that 10,000 hour rule with anything, and you'll become a professional, because no one's ever perfect. So they say that 10,000 hour rule. So I think what knocked me down, and then I get back up, were things like you could show too much love and that gets you killed. They say, you know, it's the cutthroat industry is they'll put that battery pack on you, they'll charge you up, and they'll know where they're taking you. You know what I mean? So I've been in rooms, and I know, I claim Neutron. I know BDs, GDs. I know Vice Lords. You know, Oriz is educating me about NorCal and Serenos and all the different MS-13 shit out there. But
shit,
I know where I'm at, and I've recorded with all kinds of people. So you could see smoke and mirrors with love and hate in people's eyes blink sideways, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and it really knocks you down. But at the same time, meeting people like, I'd say, or Rees, people at Bentley, people that have the same vision where, you know, like success is defined differently to everyone. And I don't like people that define success in certain ways. I think we all see along the same lines. So from that standpoint, getting knocked down in my own mind, like getting signed by Bentley, I fucking didn't make a penny off of that little piece of paper that I framed myself as a successful accomplishment to getting to that point. So when you get knocked down, there's reminders of people you'll come across in the journey that are like-minded individuals that reassure you that, you know, and I don't want an armchair quarterback. Tell me if it's good or bad, constructive criticism, and I want feedback. Or, you know, don't toot my horn or finesse me because you think there's a financial gain or that, you know, you may get benefit out of me, because people use you, get anything out of you they want and then just throw you away. So that happened a lot to me initially. And I'd say that, like I said, the things that helped me get back up are people that you stumble across in the journey of when you're down in those times and not giving up, just manifest to believe in that.
You know, it's kind of like similar to what O'Rees told me when I was, you know, I was just having like a personal conversation, catching up with him. And that's what he was saying too, is just kind of meeting people who work with you, but they don't fuck with you. It's just like using you as a stepping stone kind of thing. And it's just kind of hard finding real people in the industry who actually show you love. It's just, like you said, it's cutthroat. People get used in this a lot, and they'll use you as a stepping stone if it means that they can elevate themselves and bring you down if they have to.
Yes, sir.
It's funny because we've had O'Rees on the podcast maybe like fucking 3 or 4 times. We've had Mel on. You're on, you know, it's almost like that picture of Bentley Gang is fucking Power Rangers and we're the Ninja Turtles and we're like fucking shaking hands and shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, Ninja Turtles or something over here.
Yeah. It's like a cool collaboration. But I wanted to ask, how did the team come about? Like, who was the Samuel Jackson, the Nick Fury that, you know, got the Avengers together for you guys? And where were you at when you got involved?
So there's a couple answers to that. The first one is O'Rees. That motherfucker lit the torch and ran with it.
He would.
He did. And there were people around, like Mel and I with torches. We were like, can we get some of that fire? And he ran over, like, let's fucking light all these torches and let's fucking go. You know what I mean? So, but to rewind, Luca Days, the CEO of Bentley Records, did. And just like you talked about before this proper, and when I answered, there's people that'll finesse you or finagle you to just take leverage on you in this business. So there were a lot of people coming at me on Instagram or the platforms, because I never had social media before the music. I wasn't allowed to because of the worlds I was in before. I wasn't putting pictures, posting, because I couldn't. So I was getting scammed all the time. It was like, oh, we want to sign this label. I didn't send them a fucking penny. And I was like, these are all scams. I've been looking these all up online. If it's got a Gmail end, if it's got this. So one day, 2 Bentley affiliates emailed me, and I'm a hotheaded talent. I'd rather have a hothead than cold feet. Shoot first, ask questions later. So I got the old email. We want you to come on the label. And I was like, fuck you, you fucking bitch. It's like, I know these scams and I've been getting hit with these left and right trying to be an artist. I'm like, do you know musicians? They have passion. There's blood, sweat, and tears in this. I'm like, I'm a real fucking artist. I sent him like this long-ass email. I was smiling fed with it. And it was this woman from Bentley Records. She's like, no, the CEO heard some of your music. We want you to come on as an independent artist. So I was like, okay. So I like looked into it and it was legit. So then a year into it, they, out of the 600 independent artists, the CEO, back to Luca Days, picked 27 artists to put in this program. And from that, everything I feel like has been a test. So O'Rees, Mel, and I are 3 of those 27 members, and out of those 27, 15 went to Vegas, and that's where O'Rees kind of took this torch from the CEO after he brought us all together and was like, I think there's something building here where there's a lot of talent and different things that we can network and build, and everyone brings something to the table. So if that all makes sense, how it all started, this is almost like 2-3 years ago that it's gotten to this point. So like the CEO kind of put us all together. Out of these 600 guys, he found a group of us. He got that kind of chopped in half. And then Oriz has been at the fucking front of the pack like this, like fucking running with that torch. And we're all there with him, side by side. And that's the thing I love the best. We always say never in front or behind each other. We're fucking right next to each other. So,
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man. It only takes one candle to light another candle, you know what I mean, and start a fire. So he would, bro. He would.
That's the best part too. I mean, everybody's got a story, and I think everyone does in life. And what we've all shared in that group of everyone that's got these torches, Mel, Reese, and I, is we all have a struggle and something that we could relate to, and that we've never been a part of a brotherhood. We've never had a family like this. We've never been part of something where we're all accepted and we're all trying to do it together. It's like those things you said. What knocked us down before was haters and people that are trying to coach you through something they've never done.
Mm-hmm.
So being with all these people, it's like, okay, here we go. So
nice. Yeah, that whole Vegas thing, Reese, well, I call him Brandon because I grew up with that guy, so he's always been Brandon to me. But he told me about you guys' interviews and all that. I'm actually the one editing those videos for you guys, so I hope I can get them all to you.
It may not
soon.
look like it.
Yeah. Brandon hit me up, and he's like, we need you guys. I need you to help me edit these videos. So that's what I've been doing for you guys. Hopefully I can release them all soon to you guys, and I hope you guys like them. But yeah, no,
you'll see him in like 2 years, bro.
Take it easy.
Nah. But
thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I saw the chat from Oriz. You put me in there on IG, so thank you. You're good. So I'm patient and do your thug thizzle.
Yeah, it was just it's a lot of clips, but I've been kind of going back and forth with him, and he's liking them. And he said Luca, he's going to show him to Luca. So there's just things him and I have been kind of fixing behind the scenes, but hopefully we put that out after I could have it out to Brandon whenever he's ready to release it. We could put it out when this episode comes out. It'd be kind of cool to have it all full circle.
Yes, sir. What'd you think of some of those interviews? I mean, there's some dope backgrounds to every artist there. We had a guy from London. I mean, there are people from all over.
I thought everything was it was cool learning. I actually learned a little bit about you already through it, so it was cool.
Creepy.
I don't want to spoil too much because I want people to watch them, but everyone has different backgrounds. Everyone has kind of like the same mentality. I think that's why Luke had put you guys on, because you guys, like I said, you guys all have different styles, inspirations, and but everyone's mindset's the same. Everyone has a common goal, and I think that's why your label is working well together, I should say, because everyone in those seems to have a lot of chemistry. And from what Brandon's telling me, everyone just gets along. And I think in order to build that strong label, you need to have that foundation. So it was cool actually seeing that in those videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool because last time we had Oriz and Mel, that was before you guys were headed out to Vegas. So how was Vegas, bro?
I don't know. A lot of us didn't sleep.
Sounds like Vegas.
From what you're willing to share. I mean, you don't have to tell us everything. You know what I mean?
To each his own, and everybody has their own remedies and sauce. But it was like Mario Land with some of the mushrooms, and I microdosed. Like, I smoke a shit ton, but it was fucking hilarious. I was having a blast watching and everything. I've been to Vegas before, but I'd never been like to Fremont and how Reese knows Vegas in the 702. So we went outside there and stayed at Airbnb. We recorded some there. Then we had, opportunity to go to a huge studio in Vegas with a big artist. So we went to his setup. And I'd never done anything like that in Vegas. We went to the Strippy and all that and did certain shit, but like I've gone to the casino, we've done all that stuff, but to do what we did, like that Oriz set up, like he really wanted to make sure we did the artist, workshop is what we called it, and networking and actually meeting each other, just vibing. Like we hung out in the parking lot one time for like a couple hours at I forgot what fucking place we were at because everybody was tripping. It was like the Mirage or something, but we were in the parking garage. And we just stood in the parking lot for almost 2-3 hours because we were just drinking and, parking lot pimping. So it was just a vibe, it was awesome. Yeah. So for him to set that up and he had myself and one other artist from Miami, take the lead with it. And he started it 5 months ahead of time. And And it only started out with a couple of us and ended up being 15. And that was supposed to be all 27 there. So the 15 got there, it's like, whew, if you didn't make it there, like this was part of the test, like that no one knew about. So like how Ari set it up with Luca and, you know, the CEO Luca I met twice, so I mentioned he like showed up out of the middle of nowhere as like a ghost. So, you know, Ari had set that up. We were like, where the fuck did this guy come from? So
Came down from the rafters.
Fuck something, bro.
What's up,
I don't know.
y'all?
And the only other time I saw him in Virginia, I mean, like I was in the fucking hood, the trap, and there were motherfuckers with AKs where I was like, AP, you like the Bentley security? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so the only other time I saw him, he appeared, fucking Maurice had him show up in Vegas, like David Blaine or whoever that fucking guy is out there, something like that. So, but it was lit. It was a great time. Definitely different experience, like I said, from ever being out there before.
You guys
And that was the first time. That was the first time you guys. That was the first time you guys all got together, right? All finally met.
Yeah, the whole group. Yep.
Interesting. That's what's up, man.
What were you saying, Andrew?
Did you guys go out to the intersection that Pac got shot at?
Yeah, some people did. Yeah.
So now I have to ask the quintessential question: Tupac or Biggie?
I don't. As far as music wise, more Pac, but I love both of them. All Eyes on Me. I mean, that was my favorite of all of them. The double disc, I love both of those, front to back. My dad used to come in my bedroom. He's like, "What are you listening to again? 2 packs of sugar?" I'm like, "Tupac Shakur, Dad. What the fuck?" You know what I mean? He's like, He's like, he'd start speaking in Italian. He'd slam my fucking door. I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, "What do you want me to put on? Life After Death, the fucking Biggie double disc? Which one you want?" You know what I mean? With Notorious Thugs. So I was bumping those, but then Ready to Die, Biggie's first album, Ready to Die, with the little baby on the cover, like the white and red black album. Juicy was on there, all that. Those are probably my favorite ones. But I love both. As far as that goes, like I said in the initial beginning, I was a lover of the music. So all the East Coast, West Coast battle, like it didn't have relevance with shit with me because I just wanted to hear the music and the art. So.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So I wanted to save this for later, but I wanted to get a taste of what everybody in the chat feels and how their flavor of music. So let's go down and list our top 5 rappers. Since you know, I feel like we're a fan of a lot of rappers. Actually, let's go top 3. Let's make it harder.
Oh my god!
So I'll go first. Honestly, he's really slept on. I think Lupe Fiasco is one of the best rappers in the game, and if you don't agree with me, you don't know what you're talking about. I think personally. Number 2, I would go with Kanye West.
Okay, that's one of mine then. Okay.
Number 3, I'd have to say Lil Wayne. That's
Lil
number
Wayne?
3. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Damn it, top 3.
Yeah, that was a hard 3. I had to cut Mac Miller, you know what I mean? But give a sample, what's it called? Spotify playlist sample of my taste of music, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like I'd have to stick Big L in there somewhere. I might cut that, but Kanye West, Big L. Let me think of a third.
Even that says a lot about like your taste compared to mine, so it's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for those.
You're that boom bap,
rhyme
old
after
school.
rhyme after rhyme. In fact, I might even have to say Big Pun. Oh, now they're tied. Big Pun and Big L.
Hey, only one big, bro.
I know.
Only one big.
I'm a sucker for those big rappers, man. Oh my god. Oh, that's tough. That's very tough. I didn't even think you guys can think of your top 3s.
Oh
my god, this is so.
It's not that deep, bro. It's not that deep.
Like I want to say Nas, right? But then like
yeah, you have Nas tatted on your fucking arm, bro. How you ain't gonna say
but
Nas?
he's just like the next evolution of Rakim is the thing. So I'm like, should I just say Rakim? Or?
That is true, actually. So that's a good way to put it.
It goes like I might as well. Oh, then I might as well just say J. Cole or something. So, and you know, yeah, Kanye and 2 New York rappers. that's probably what I'm gonna go with. Fuck yeah, just say
okay.
Yeah, Nas, Kanye. If I were younger, if I were like still in high school, I'd probably stick Common in there.
Yeah.
Third one's up for grabs right now. Third one's still up for grabs. Let's just say Big L. Big L, Nas, and Kanye West.
Okay.
Solid picks, though. I mean, it's hard to pick 3.
Yeah.
I'll, in no particular order, Andre 3000. I think a lot of people don't mention him a lot, but he's fucking dope with it. I've always liked his style. J. Cole, I mean, he's always been my favorite. Yeah, so J. Cole. I mean, I'm trying to not pick something typical, obviously, but J. Cole definitely is kind of not something I could just pass up on. But
your son's name is J. Cole.
Yeah.
Bro, time out. Let me just say, Andrew has Nas tatted on him. This fool's son's name is J. Cole. And these fools are like, Nas,
I didn't want to go straight.
J. Cole.
It would have been too easy. Like, I have a damn action figure of Notorious B.I.G.
That's the obvious one for me. Like, that's why it was just too easy. But, you know, definitely there's more than top 3 for you. But so I got Andre 3000. I got J. Cole. Let's just go with MF Doom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a weird Spotify playlist.
I listen to everything.
The Friday night Spotify playlist for the drive.
All right, so this is tough. I like top 5, but 3's even harder.
Yeah.
I think there's like, you gotta do like mainstream and like underground. Like people would be thrown off if you had 3 lyrical motherfuckers on the underground side. But I'll stick with more like, I'm gonna say M, Wayne, and it's like a close 3rd, 4th with Pac and Biggie, and then M, Wayne, and Pac. I'll say that right now. And if you gave me 4th and 5th, I'm throwing in there Biggie and Kanye.
Okay.
If you go way underground to me, like, see, like I use like lyrical wise and like hip hop stuff, like Immortal Technique, Sea Raised Balls, Atmosphere, like shit like that too. You know what I mean? Like Busta Rhymes. You even had like shit.
That's a good one.
You know what I mean? Like people that have real lyrical fucking flow like that. Like you said, Lupe Fiasco too. Like, I mean, like there's motherfuckers that are slept on just because of what's so much that's mainstream and that like is like pop culture shit. So there's context. Like Kanye West, like all the first college dropout, second college dropout, them shits are lyrical as fuck. Ridiculous. So when you say Kanye too, like a lot of people hate on Kanye, like people don't forget, like this guy wrote a lot of Chicken and Beer and produced for Ludacris. This guy was producing for Jay-Z and The Rock before he got in the car accident and did The Wire when his fucking mouth was shut. You know what I mean?
But I think a lot of the hate that Kanye gets is not necessarily for his music, but for how he's fucking acting. And a lot of people just immediately shut him out now because of how he acts. And yeah, I understand. That fool acts weird as fuck, but I still listen to his fucking music because he made dope ass music. But I haven't really been a fan of his new stuff, as cliche as that sounds. I think the last best one that I heard was My Dark Twisted Fantasy, or is that
what?
Yeah, I think that was the last good one. Maybe St. Pablo, but you know, I never really gave it that much of a playthrough. But St. Pablo did have some good ones, but I really liked My Dark Twisted Fantasy.
The thing about Kanye is he's an artist. You know what I mean? Like, he's got sick ass bars too, but I would say his bars aren't his strength. It's the overall product of what you're getting. The experience with Kanye, of his music. The feel, the beat. You know what I mean? how simple the bars are, and it fits perfectly to his puzzle piece that he's making, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
What's your favorite Kanye bar?
Dude, the thing about Kanye is, I think some of his best shit is his unreleased stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of unreleased songs that the bars are too raw to where you get into that trap that Lupe Fiasco gets into, where it's too complex that he needs to dumb it down. You know what I mean? So he knows that it's the simple stuff that is catchy. It's simple stuff that works. So he saves his complex stuff that the boom bap lyrical heads like for the unreleased shit, because the boom bap lyrical heads are the motherfuckers that go look for unreleased shit anyways. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny because just talking about our top three, I can already tell that we all like lyricism, right? We all like spitters. You know what I mean? We all kind of said Lil Wayne and Kanye West. I said Lupe, so I obviously like the fucking triple, quadruple entendres. You listen to this song, it means something else. You listen to it again, it means something else again type shit. You know what I mean? Andrew likes Big L, so he likes that raw boom bap type of spitting. J. Cole with Jermaine and Andre 3000, so he likes the poetic kind of spitting, you know what I mean? And AP, you like Eminem, you like Lil Wayne, and Tupac, you like the fucking, I cut you, you know, deep and sharp with what I'm telling you, you know what I mean? Ain't no need to look my lyrics up. Like, what you hear is what you're getting, and what I'm saying is real type shit, you know what I mean? So, as we get older, right, we know that rapping, obviously, we talked about rapping being down to its core. It's gangster and it's cool because you're rapping about what's real. You're rapping about what's about you, right? And some of these rappers, in the beginning, they're in the hood. They're in the struggle. So they're rapping about that. But now they're fucking in like suites. You know what I mean? Fucking like Bentleys and fucking helicopters and shit, but they still gotta rap about the fucking hood and shit. You know what I mean? As mature rap connoisseurs and people like Drake coming out now, you know, we talked about Kanye West. You know, sometimes Kanye doesn't even write his flows. You know what I mean? Does it matter that the artist writes his verses, being fans of lyricism right now, or does it just matter what the overall product is going to be? Kind of like Drake is, because you know them. Every time I hear badass Drake song, I'm like, who wrote this shit, bro? You know, I know you didn't write this shit. So what do you guys think about that?
I think it's important to write your own shit if you're going to be a lyricist. You know, like there's no ghostwriting. Like if you know, like if you found out, let's say Drill, like if you found out Lupe Fiasco had a ghostwriter on all those songs, it would change your perspective on them. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like,
true.
That sucks. And then for Andrew, like Big L, you find out Big L had a ghostwriter. You're like, yo, I don't want to listen to Big L. I want to listen to a ghostwriter. What the fuck is this? You know, it definitely does change. But for guys like Drake, yeah, I mean, I've said this before in different pods. I listen to Drake, but I don't listen to Drake. You know, I don't really, you know, he's just gonna be background noise, but I don't listen to what he's saying because
put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I don't find his music that
Drake.
I don't listen
to Drake, but I don't listen to Drake.
No, I listen to Drake, but I don't listen to him because I just like ghostwriters, you know, and he's been exposed for that, and he's jocked other people's rhyme schemes, and it's just like, oh, okay, but yeah, I think, like I said, just going back, it's you can't call yourself a lyricist and then have a ghostwriter. It just doesn't work that way.
I agree. I was mad as fuck when I heard the rumors a long time ago that Wayne had ghostwriters. So I mean, to me, that takes away the authenticity, rawness at certain times. You know what I mean? So I think in order to be categorized as it, like you said, like how Drake bites other styles or just, you know, copying certain patterns or sounds or trying to mimic it. Yeah. And even the terms like that takes that away. So.
it's hard because like if it's marketed as an artist, you know what I mean, and you know what you're hearing is fabricated, is it received the same way, you know what I mean? Like it goes back to what you said, like people know what's raw, people know what's real. So do they though? You know what I mean? If you're able to be fooled, like that's good enough, right? Sometimes. So I feel like because there's people like even Travis Scott, you know what I mean? Like his music's fucking next level, but I mean, he's more of an artist where like, damn, I have this crazy hook of a beat. Like I need a verse for this. Hit up the homie for the verse, you know what I mean? So it's pretty crazy. I feel like back when we got into rap, it was more competitive. You know what I mean? Like my style, your style. And then towards the end, it started becoming very cooperative, you know? And now it's starting to be too cooperative, creative, to where it's almost like motherfuckers are writing each other's shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, I don't think. You know what I mean? I just feel like the audience, and it's happening with MMA right now, I don't think the audience is ready for that shift of the culture. You know what I mean? It's good for the creators. It's good for the participants of the culture. But for the consumers of it, it's almost like they still need to catch up to what's going on, right? Yeah, interesting. Because it also goes to like, we talked about Drake, like a freestyle, even that shit, right? Like, I got freestyle, yo, like,
with the phone in front of you.
Yeah,
That's all my freestyle. Written.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, for me, like, if you hear it first and it says freestyle and you hear it, it's like, damn, this shit's hardcore. Then, you know, you look into it later on and you find out it's written. It's like, damn, that shit sucks. You know what I mean? I wish it was a freestyle kind of thing. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's common though. A lot of people, when they go on these freestyle shows, it's a bunch of lyrics they've already had written up, you know. So they go on there and they kind of fuse it with other lines they've put together. And I've heard other artists like, wait, didn't they freestyle that shit? And it's now in a song, you know. So it doesn't bother me too much as long as they're written, I guess. But like you said, it's cooler if it's an actual freestyle. But can you imagine someone freestyling using a ghostwriter shit? Like, whoa, what the fuck is that? So, I mean, as long as they wrote it, I guess I'm cool with it. But that's what separates. I mean, I forgot who said it, but there's freestylers and there's writers. And I remember there was this thing. Pitbull, he started off just as a freestyle rapper, and then Irv Gotti told him, "Hey, that's cool and all, but freestyle is not going to get you paid." Yeah, so
it's crazy.
And then Irv Gotti told him that's not going to get you paid. You got to start writing music. So Pitbull started writing music, and look at him now; he's blowing up because Irv Gotti loved his style. He's like, "Dude, that's just tight, but you ain't going to make money as a freestyler." So
you're not going to be worldwide if
he wasn't worldwide. Yeah,
yeah,
freestyle's going to make him worldwide. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked, how often do you have to freestyle, AP, being in this field? I always wondered. And are you judged on your freestyle? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that the environment of the freestyle happens usually out when we're drinking. People want to freestyle. They usually get smashed. They can't judge or come close. But, and I'm not being cocky, it's always come with the territory. I've always been quick on my feet with words and subliminal shit and innuendos. And then I think like in the studio, we'll fuck around and we'll throw words around and just like if we're coming to the concept or spitballing while we're trying to write a song, like we'll freestyle then. And sometimes we've just gone right in the booth and we'll just fucking freestyle and see what happens. And then we may pull something out of the freestyle and be like, that's what we're going to make the song with. Like, you know, something like that. So like, we'll joke around too with like something stupid or someone say something that's sounding, you know, corny or whatever the fuck they said. So yeah, people get judged. Yeah, hell yeah, they do.
It comes a hook to the next song and shit, and they fucking hate it every time they hear it.
Yeah, right.
It sucks.
It's a sample fucking to the beat.
Yeah, right.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
Man, freestyling used to be, I feel like, what really made me fall in love with rap. You know, like all the cool lines and stuff obviously is what attracted me to rap. But once I fell into the rabbit hole of freestyle rapping and battle rap, that's what fucking sold it on me. I think that's why I really fucked with Eminem. You know what I mean? I've said this on the podcast before. I think it was the second episode. I think Slim Shady and Eminem are two different artists, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I take that back. That's why I really fucked with Slim Shady. Because he was crazy. And interestingly enough, it was funny because Slim Shady, I feel like looking into Eminem's career, I think from what I looked into, and any startling artist will probably draw some inspiration from this, is no matter how fucking good this fool was, I mean, we're all fans of the boom bap lyrical rap style. His style prior to going full Slim Shady, like the Infinite days, you know? Yo, crazy, man. Like, talk about like kind of AZ, kind of old school Nas flow type shit.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
It was a nice flow, man.
Yep. Talking about positive shit, talking about like hip hop back in the day, you know, topics. And it wasn't getting him anywhere. And I think he was almost at the end of his efforts to try to go at this. So he just started doing experimental shit and was going crazy, switching up his voice pitch and shit. And that's when he came up with Hi, My Name Is. And I mean, damn, my conspiratorial side is trying to draw me into it. That's when the fucking labels were like, hey, let's sign this fool. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whether or not that was like the entity kind of latching on him. And that's why the label fucking was like, he's prime. Let's pick him. You know what I mean? That's another conversation to have. But it's funny because now that pitch changing voice, you could say, is what kind of birthed Lil Wayne style, which birthed Kendrick Lamar style, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy. And I feel like artists like you who are inspired by different artists are able to pull from different sources. So really, like when you start to go, you know, fuck it, I'm going to sing now on this one. It's not really out there for you. It's like, I'm just pulling from this bucket. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not kind of just going random, like, well, I'm going to try to sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think it's referencing cool. Like that sound that you're pulling out of that bucket, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's almost like almost like you said, like layers, like how an M did Infinite when he was like in the rap Olympics that whole time when he had the ICP shit when he was battling them and everything when he came in the rap Olympics. And then you said like he morphed into the Slim Shady LP with the pills on the cover with Role Model, Just Don't Give a Fuck, I Still Don't Give a Fuck. Well, both those tracks are on there.
Yeah, crazy album, bro. I actually just started listening to it again, and I don't know if you guys have taken a break from rap, but listening to the music and albums you used to listen to back in high school when you were going through puberty and all that crazy hormone stuff, it's almost like, damn, I can't believe I survived listening to this music and didn't like do anything violent or crazy. My mom was right.
Like what fifth grader would listen to the Slim Shady LP?
Literally right.
Yeah. I bought that shit on cassette. That's how long.
If you have it, that's probably worth a lot, bro.
I don't. That'd be cool though, but
yeah. It's crazy because as far as that labels finally reaching out to you, isn't that everybody's goal though as a musician? You know what I mean? That's supposed to be a good thing when the labels hit you up or recognize you, right? Because that's ultimately the goal, to get a platform. But what's cool about Bentley label, it sounds like, is they encourage you to be who you are and kind of let you nurture and grow into your own artist, which is different from the mainstream and kind of the bigger labels out there. We talked about Linkin Park and Lupe Fiasco. Those are really big names in the music industry, but even they were trying to fight for their own identity against the label in their musical journey as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lupe Fiasco, Food and Liquor, the first one, right? That's the first album he came out with, right? Food and Liquor. That fucking album is crazy. My favorite song later, I didn't like it when it came out, Kick Push. Did you guys know that song's about fucking drug dealing and not skateboarding?
Kick, push, yeah.
I didn't know that. I just know that.
Pushing.
Thought it was about skateboarding.
Push. Yeah, bro. It's one of those things. If you listen to it again, it's like, damn, this song's crazy. But Dumb It Down was his next single for the second album, and then the third album was Lasers, right, which is very label heavy. Yeah. And I think he had some tracks on the second album and the third album kind of talking about how he's fucking, you know, bending over backwards to try to keep his own creative identity despite, you know, being signed to the label. And in Linkin Park, I think when they were found out, they said that Mike Shinoda should stop rapping and just play fucking keyboard, you know?
Yeah. Actually, the label wanted him. They were kind of trying to drive him out by just saying play keyboard and hoping that maybe he'd be like, I don't want to do that, and he leaves because they're like, you have a vocalist, it's Chester. You know, and Chester is an amazing vocalist. There's no vocalist like him, right? And they just thought Mike Shinoda doing the rap was just doing too much, but they stuck with it and it worked. They're such an iconic band, you can't put anyone against them in that genre.
Yeah, I agree. I think that critiquing and coaching and giving people tools that enable them to do something is different. That's what Bentley was doing, whereas when you guys broke that down, especially with Lupe, I think it was the second album, like Hip Hop Saved My Life, was when the Trey said he put out the track, producer made him take it down, said he had to pay, you know, that line from that. And then on Lasers, he had the track, like the Madonna song is what it's called, I think. Revelanasa, Madonna, like something like that, like where they're trying to, you know, more popularize him. But back to what you're saying with Linkin Park and that, where they tried to change them. I think back to what I said, not changing, critiquing and coaching and giving them tools, enabling them what they couldn't do is more of like what Bentley does. They give you to the door and you can open the door if you want. You own 97%, they get 3%, you know what I mean? So, and the 3 is donated. So as far as that's concerned, I mean, you can already see that picture right there. You get everything. But like I said, they're enabling you and not trying to change you. So anything I've come across more has been a constructive criticism, I'd say, and approach it this way and maybe do this and change this, but keep it unique in the way you have it. You know what I mean? So
Bentley sounds great, man. I haven't heard of a label that does this kind of stuff. I've never heard of any kind of label that supports the artist like how you're describing. Mostly when I hear about labels, it's just bad news, kind of like what you're talking about with Lupe.
Yeah, and it seems that a lot of the people that are involved are investors. So, you know, that Luca Days' board of advisors, I know the 2 are Jermaine Dupri and Rick Ross. So those are the board advisors to Bentley Records. So I don't know what every person's role is. You know, Luca's the CEO. So from the top down, they have investors to where I think it's more of Luca and people that are on the forefronts relate more to the artist as the CEO, and he has his board of advisors, Rick Ross, Jermaine Dupri. So I think that the people that are leading the fronts are the people that are people of pioneers and love and have passion for music. So they know coming from the artist how it's going to be, because I know that other labels, they fuck artists over. Like I said, the scams and people were coming across initially. So I think they're trying to change it because of the other business axes that they have with that. Like I said, the different names and people involved, there's a layer of lettuce, and you don't even know how many layers there may be with the people.
So now that you guys are kind of gaining momentum, and it sounds like, I mean, from the first time Reese talked about Bentley Records on the podcast, it sounded like they set you up and they take care of you more than they try to squeeze out sales and records, you know what I mean, which is unusual in the business. Is it hard now to get into Bentley Records than it was prior to, you know, establishing? How does that work if there's an up and coming artist that's kind of interested in somehow getting into the gang. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. It's like, I'd say there's tiers to it. And, I would say, like you brought up, pushing records and sales, that's not their MO. They want you to invest in the label, in yourself. And it may come across as like you or me, like, why do they want my money that way? Well, a Wiz Khalifa and Lil Wayne feature anywhere from 50,000 to 100 grand. And the reason I didn't pay that for it. You know what I mean? So because of the people involved, like Rick Ross, Jermaine Dupri, there's a rate that we benefit from getting that. So yeah, we had to pay to get those features, but a way discounted rate, whereas that puts us in a different tier of what kind of Bentley artists we are, whereas someone who may come out and just sign as an independent artist with them. Did you buy your own Vivo channel from them? Are you investing yourself in part of the tour? Because you could go on tour with them, but there's a cost for that. So they're not going to take where people may look at that the wrong way. Like, well, why do I have to pay for the tour? Well, you're an independent artist. Do you have a tour manager? Do you have a coordinator? Do you have event staff? Do you got security? Do you got a door guy? Do you got ID check? You know what I mean? So when people don't know the layers of what goes into, like, if you want to go and perform live and expand your brand sound, you want to become someone that's known as an artist across the country, whatever, they're going to give you things that when I said, if you come in initially, anyone can come in, but there's like tiers to it. So where Reese and I are at, I think that like where we're getting the momentum, they didn't have these things before when Bentley started. And I think it was, they're coming up on the 10-year anniversary. So 2013. So you couldn't get all these features, and those ones like with Lil Wayne and Wiz Khalifa aren't the only ones. They offer other ones. So I think if you want to invest and distribute your music as an entry-level artist, that's where a lot of us started out, and not knowing what you could get into at Bentley. Like, I didn't even imagine or dream of ever being on a fucking song with Wiz, and then, become an independent artist with them. I'm in the platform. It's like, go to the Bentley Records IO shop. Major featured artists. You got fucking Fat Joe on there, Wiz Khalifa, Lil Wayne, Migos, which is probably the most on there. RIP Takeoff. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, you could do all of this. And I'm like Googling on at the same time, like average cost to do a feature with these artists. I'm like, shut the fuck up. So, So like to elaborate more on that. So then like when I did that, when I decided I wanted to go on tour, when I've invested X amount, like the reason I've invested a lot as independent artists with them to get where we're at. Then I started to get calls from Luca. Then he starts to believe in it more when he sees you are investing in yourself and you're growing, or that you're an upcoming or rising artist, and that you're getting traction. So I think the initial standpoint is getting on with them as an independent artist, and then whatever tools you need that you can't get yourself. Like there's certain things I'm still doing myself that Bentley offers, but not that it's cheaper for a certain reason. It's just because I like the way it is now, which they don't have a gripe about. But then, like I said, on the other side of things, with being an artist with them, I'm a Bentley Gold artist. It's the highest level you can get. And I know that all 600 aren't on there, but from an investment standpoint and really believing in the music, I'm not just distributing music once a year with Bentley as one of their 600 artists and just hoping I get the streams and all that, because everybody knows you're not going to make it off that if you're in music. So if that makes sense to answer with information, brother.
Yeah, it totally does. And I'm curious, man. When you are going into a track with Wiz Khalifa or Lil Wayne, is it different going into it? I mean, I fight. Obviously, if I was scheduled to fight a big name fighter, I would feel some type of way, but the goal would be trying to go into it not feeling some type of way. So how is that? Like, do you try to kind of calm the nerves and go into it as cold-blooded AP? I don't give a fuck. I'm going to spit my shit. Or you kind of be like, no, I'm going to go there platinum AP, kind of up my level, match Wiz Khalifa. How is the difference in going into the booth with that?
Man, it is still all crazy. It was vague. I got a beat. I got no lyrics, nothing except the name of the song and what vibe to keep it at, Okay. And it's a chill melodic whiz beat. And it's like, give us your best 16-bar verse, send it back. And I'm like, okay. And I hadn't sent it yet. So I'm like you said, I'm trying to think of what I want to do. I listened to the beat probably fucking 50 times before I even tried to put a word to it. And it's got them whiz, eerie little sounds and vibe. You know, like Lil Wiz, you're smoking and riding currency type track when they used to do, you know, OG and Kush, fucking Rolling Papers, 28 grams, all those mixtapes back in the Dat Piff day before all this stuff now. And I was sitting there, and I've been to the studio multiple times just working on other tracks with Bentley and other Bentley independent artists. And then Bentley Gold representative hits me up. They're like, "We need your Wiz verse ASAP." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" so going into it, brother, to answer your question, like, I'm not knowing what to expect. I've never done this before. I'm like, am I going to get to see and meet Wiz Khalifa? Am I going to be smoking fucking joints with Wiz? Like, you know what I mean? So once it got to the point of like how it's going to work and all this, it was like, and then signing just the legal forms and his management team and it's sent back and forth. It's just been vague, and I just follow when I get some and follow their lead. I was going to send them the track when it was ready, but all of a sudden it was like they wanted it. And I know Oriz went through something different with the Lil Wayne track, but the way that they recorded it, it was funny too, because he wasn't sure. He told me what he wanted to do, and then Luca Days was there in person with him, and they were recording the Lil Wayne track, and I was fucking mind blown. So like it was all unexpected. It was like you think something would be more uniform or structured. They give you the whole black and white picture, no gray area, complete transparency. But it was like, no, you just this little independent artist right here. You with the big dogs now. Here's what we're gonna give you when we give you, and then when we ask for it, we want it ASAP. I was like, fuck. But it's all new to me. You know what I mean? Like, so I've you know, like I said, done songs with plenty of other artists, but nothing like Wiz Khalifa. So to give you the full rundown, that's where we're at right now. It's hopefully going to be out this year before the new year starts. I signed all the paperwork and everything. Same with Oriz and the Wayne track, which, to be honest with you, that motherfucker's a banger. Like the Wiz track that I'm on, it's more melodic and vibe, smoke and ride. Like, bro, the song, the name of the song that Oriz on, Lil Wayne, I can't say it, but like when you see it when it drops, it's so any day, hopefully, you'll know exactly what it's about, and it slaps. That motherfucker slaps. Yeah. I keep telling Maurice he's got this Lil Wayne vibe. Like if there's other songs, like we recorded some in Vegas, and he's just got this flow, and he keeps coming like Wayne on the track, but like it's not like it's identical. It's Oriz's flow with a Wayne twist, like you said, Jariz. Like you're reaching in that fucking bucket over there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's a
man. That's hard because even for us, when we make music, when I really like the beat, it's like, oh man, you know what I mean? I got to come hard on this beat and you know, have my best flows. Sometimes I'll have fucking 3 different verses for the fucking song. You know what I mean? So with you, you know, having to meet a deadline and send a verse over to Lil Wayne or Wiz Khalifa, you don't want to fucking hear that shit like, oh fuck, I should have added this, should have changed that. You know what I mean? I should have went with this verse. Oh man, it's almost like a blessing and a curse, and it's one of those things where it's like heavy is the head that wears the crown type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I followed the Wiz style. I mean, like to just touch on that back where you said, like I went in there and I didn't go all AP because of the way that they wanted it then. And I asked Luke, and I'm like, give me feedback. And I sent it too, because if you need me to do it again, I will. And they sent back, I think, 2 words, or no, very well received. I was like, oh,
yeah. I would love to hear that. Man.
So, and I went with that approach. Like, you know, you asked that initially before I went in depth on the question. And I went with the Wiz approach to it. I went with his kind of like melodic vibe flow to it. And I didn't, you know, go full AP, but I gave a little twist and touch at the end where I took it to Wiz and then went back to me, but brought it back to the way the song was. So.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man.
Yes, sir.
Sheesh. So that's kind of up there as far as like a collab. Dream collab. Who are some big names that, or not even big names, who are some names that are on your bucket list as far as wanting to work with them in the industry?
You know, there's always dreams and things like that I'd want to do that with in more of, in a realistic sense. I think that when the opportunity presents itself, whoever that, like I mentioned, Lucas networked us with, there's names like Rick Ross, Jermaine Dupri, you know, and you could go meet and see them for an opportunity when there's things on the platform, that there's a conference or like they throw the party on the Super Bowl. But one of the people more that I want to work with or get involved with, they have more like R&B people. And I know that Maurice is as well, like Lourdes Capral, she's a European artist, and she's got huge fame out in Europe and America. And then like Jackie's boy, he's on Bentley Records, but more people like, I don't know the extent of where they'll add more artists, but I'd really love to work with Luca and Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is a track with Luca Days called Blow Your Mind, and they put it out in 2021. I think it'd be awesome just to work with Uncle Snoop in any fashion or form, whether I'm part of a big tour I hear that's coming up, not one that reason they're doing. There's a Rick Ross tour coming. I don't know if we're part of that or not, or who is and whatnot, but just to be there in any fashion, maybe if Snoop and Luca perform Blow Your Mind. There's another gentleman that we saw in Vegas, legendary Mark West. He's done songs with Sean Kingston. So I think in all realistic fashion, the biggest icons that are with the brand and the business right now. And then from my standpoint, I know Ariz is on the Wayne track, but Wayne or M for sure. Dr. Dre too. I mean, I talked about a lot of Dre references earlier in the talk, and he's touched on a lot of art and things going around, but there's something he said and I saw it, and it'll probably blow your guys' mind too. He's worked with so many artists. He was asked what artist he's turned down in his career he gratefully regretted. And it was Prince and Michael Jackson.
Oh, shit.
And Dr. Dre, and they said, why? It's on a Kevin Hart podcast somewhere. Kevin, why? And he's like, it was during the Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg, Death Row, where he's like, I felt like I had nothing to offer them. I was fucking mind blown. So that's what we're talking about. I'd love to work with just Dre because of this, how talented and how much his sound and how many different artists and people he's worked with. And this sounds like you guys brought up Kendrick Lamar, and if certain things didn't happen, he wouldn't have been created. I mean, like how Dre's worked with him and just all these different people his entire career. He'd be a great one too. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. For me, you guys chime in too. I wouldn't want to rap with someone too good because it's like, fuck, bro, turn his vocals down or just do the hook. You know what I mean?
I feel you, brother. With me, I'm humbled and honored. You know what I mean? Just to have the opportunity, because I think that you wouldn't be on there if you were dog water to a certain extent. Not people is gonna toot your horn or be the armchair crow. Like, yeah, bro, that shit's dope. Let's fucking turn this down. You know what I mean? So I think once you're there, that shouldn't even. I'm more humbled and honored to be a part of something that's like, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I guess that's the kind of mindset that makes you miss opportunities. Kind of what happened with Dre. That's interesting to note.
Right.
Crazy,
I mean, like
crazy.
think about Michael Jackson and Prince and the icons that they are, as far as way bigger than any other music that there is in the world like that. You know what I mean? Michael Jackson, I don't think anyone will ever top some of the numbers he's done. So just to hear but being honest from a business standpoint, then, Dre didn't look at it like that. And that's how he was about the music, because, he said he had nothing to offer to them at that time. So, but I mean, like, unless people want to really kill themselves on the track, like M and Jay-Z did a couple of times, like that, on Renegade when M did that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
see that I feel like Renegade was one of those tracks where I feel like those, like I said, being in the booth, sometimes there's those sessions where it's like you spit fire, other person spits fire, and you're like, nah, fuck that. And you go back in and they're like, nah, fuck that. And they go back in, and it's kind of like this Goku Vegeta kind of training session where you guys are trying to, you know what I mean, kind of be neck and neck.
Did you guys see that video? I think Busta Rhymes was on a podcast, and he was talking about this time he was doing a song with Eminem. Was his Calm Down? And then, like, he was trying to get what is it? He sent his he sent his 16 over to Eminem. Eminem sends him back like a 20. and then Busta Rhymes was like, no, I can't go out like that. So he sends Eminem like 30 or something more. Than Eminem sends him back like 70. And they just keep competing. They just keep sending each other more bars for it, and I'm assuming that's why it's called Calm Down. But yeah, just that competitive spirit, just what made them great on that song.
Yeah, that's a crazy track. They just elevated each other, like you said. They just kept taking it up.
Yeah, dude, It was. I gotta listen to that again, man. So,
I don't think I've even heard that song before. Calm Down. Busta Rhymes and Eminem.
Yeah. It samples tip of my tongue. Some early 90s song. Where is it?
ChatGPT, bro. Probably knows. I saw this thing on Reddit. It was interesting. I want to bring it up here. Who do you think is more of an icon in the rap game? If you had to pick one. Lil Wayne or Snoop Dogg?
More of an icon?
Yeah.
Between those two? Huh.
I would say Snoop is in, from what I've seen in basic like media, on like TV and on like radio. I've seen more Snoop stuff, but I feel like I don't know. Maybe I just don't watch enough TV. I'm sure Wayne is involved in other things too. Like Wayne was in the Street Fighter 6 commercial, so I'm sure there's some things that Lil Wayne is involved in that I haven't seen. But from what I see, Snoop seems a bit just more iconic. Seems a bit more prevalent is the word that I feel like is synonymous with iconic.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think, yeah, if we're talking in general terms, that's Snoop Dogg. But if we're just going for just straight music, I think Wayne, because there's so many debates about, he's set up so many debates about whether he's the greatest rapper alive. You got so many people saying, no, he's fucking terrible. And you got people saying, no, he's fucking dope. So in a music sense, I go with Lil Wayne, but in a general sense, like what you're saying, Andrew, it's definitely Snoop Dogg, because he's got Corona commercials. He's got a skin in Call of Duty. Right. So he's definitely a household name because everyone knows who he is. But when you're breaking it down to the music, I think Lil Wayne is probably more iconic, because he's made a lot of songs that's made people think and guess whether he's the greatest rapper, or, like I said, there's a lot of people who don't like him and say, nah, he's terrible. He just says his rhymes are whack. He's opened up so many debates about him. And Snoop Dogg, for the most part, everyone likes Snoop. He's just a very likable guy. His music is easy to like, and Wayne is on that kind of controversial sense in a way.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I'd say Wayne, like you said, rap world, and then household name's a great term. Whoever said that for Snoop Dogg, like, he doesn't need that shit with Martha Stewart too. Like I saw,
this man's prevalent. This guy's all over the place.
I saw a Bic commercial. They were both holding the Bic, and like Snoop Dogg, like putting it in the grill, and she's lighting a candle, and like they put fucking Snoop and Martha Stewart in a lighter commercial, and then put him by the grill and her by the candle. You know he's really lighting a fucking joint. He ain't like no grill.
Shout out to the agent.
Out Martha Stewart, which is cool, and Martha Stewart just smoking with him. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like two different artists, and you're kind of comparing apples and oranges if you really want to put it together. But when it comes to music, I'll go with Lil Wayne.
Musically, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. If we're talking about pop stars or celebrities, I go with Snoop Dogg, because, like what you said, all that. But I feel like, again, we go back into the rap heads and the rap nerds. They care about if you write your own shit. We care about if it's a real freestyle. You know what I mean? I think street cred and into that audience and population of rap heads, I feel like the icon goes to fucking what's his face, to Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? It's almost like a Jordan LeBron debate. You know what I mean? Where it's like skills versus like what he's done overall for basketball type shit. So interesting. You know, while I was thinking about it and really breaking this down, they're kind of similar. You know what I mean? They kind of make up their own words, their own slang, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to kind of bring up the fact that Snoop Dogg did California Girls with Katy Perry. But Lil Wayne has done a bunch of other weird shit too. You know what I'm saying? So he's got his own
And Lil Wayne
catalog
tried to do
too.
his rock shit, right? Like he was trying to do his own little rock because I remember he went on tour with Blink 182, and the fans were like, "What the fuck is this?" And they booed him off stage. And he wasn't having it. He was like, "Dude," like he pretty much walked out on Blink 182, and they were trying to bring him. I just thought that was, like you said, like the Katy Perry thing was a weird thing, but Snoop Dogg's at that point where people are going to offer him good money just to make a song, and fuck it, take it. You know, he's at a point where he doesn't need to prove anything anymore. Just go make money. And Lil Wayne trying out the rock thing, it's a little different because it's just like, okay, you're trying a new genre. You don't know if that's going to work. It's not like he's being paid to do rock. He's like, no, I'm going to do rock. And it's just like, what the fuck is that?
It was like that whole skateboard phase he had too. I know what you're talking about. He did a whole rock album. It wasn't just one song, it was like a whole album.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, you know, that was
tried skating too.
And a lot of his fans were like, is he okay? What's this guy doing?
He fell, right? Didn't he fall?
Yes.
He fell. Yeah.
Shit.
You know what though? What's respectful about that is he wanted to try something new out of the sense of creativity, other than or opposed to wanting to try something else in a sense of profit. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, you know, he flew his own plane, but he crashed compared to these guys ask you to get on this flight of this plane that they already kind of have. You know what I mean? Pretty interesting.
You know, Reese just texted me because he's watching it. And he said, Snoop Dogg stole Drop It Like It's Hot from Wayne. I did not know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I told him to jump in the chat. Just talk to us there. Stop texting me.
What up, Marie?
Man. Well, one other question I saw too is we talk about classics all the time. And it's funny because when Kendrick Lamar came out and his albums were coming out, I had friends that, although I did agree Kendrick Lamar is a great artist, and later on down the line, he's going to be one of the best rappers. You know, we're going to be talking about him the same way we're going to be talking about Lupe and Eminem and Lil Wayne. But, you know, they say that where am I trying to go with this? At the time when he came out with, was it Good Kid, Mad City? Everyone already was like, man, this is a classic, you know, top 10 rap albums, you know what I mean? The next album came out, oh, this is a classic. I'm like, bro, how's it a classic if it just came out, dog? You know what I mean? I don't understand. But later down the line, when you look back on it, it's a classic. So I wanted to ask you guys, what defines classic? You know what I mean? How do you differentiate and label an album as a classic album? What do you guys say?
Something unique, something too easy to say. Something almost when I think of a classic, it's kind of just like something that hasn't been done before. It doesn't. Right. It sounds a lot more different than the rest of the stuff that came out at its time. That's to the best of its abilities. That's currently what I'm thinking of a classic. Plus an element of timelessness. Of course, you can play it. You can play it. You can play it now. You can play it several years from now. It should hopefully still sound as good as that first time you heard it.
A good classic also kind of takes you back to that time, right? When you listen to it and you just immediately get sucked back into that and just remember that's what a good classic is to me. But like you said too, Andrew, it's got to be something that hasn't been done. It's something that kind of defines that artist at that time period and kind of still reflects them going forward.
There we go.
But, so I agree. It's just classics is kind of thrown around too easily. Iggy Azalea calling herself the new classics. Like, okay, we forgot about you. But it's just so loosely. Yeah, she calls herself the new classic. I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, but yeah, just kind of touching what Andrew said. But extending, saying like, it's kind of a classic is also what defines an artist at that period, but also transcends into the future, but shows the progress, but still rooted in that. So, it's, I don't know. It's just, that's just how I see it. Like it's just no remakes or anything like that. Yeah, that's just how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, it's got to take you back, like a flashback. You reminisce. That defines a classic. You play it front to back, like you said, Andrew. And in other words, like timeless. It could be related to now, then, before. So I agree, absolutely. That's the definition of classic. You said who's calling themselves a new classic? What female artist?
Iggy Azalea.
Oh,
the new classic. I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I like that.
Doesn't make sense.
The new classic. You got to say it, bro.
New classic.
I mean?
It's catchy, but it's just like, nah, you're not the one to say that.
It's that old school new shit. You know what I mean? That fast, slow shit.
I transcend time.
No, I always think of it as like Coca-Cola classic because it's like on the side of the can or something. Like that's what I think when I hear classic. I like it's fucking Coca-Cola classic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. So there's another question I wanted to ask you guys. If you guys were stuck on an island or if it was a post-apocalyptic situation and you guys were able to load one album onto your phone, that's it for the rest of your time, which album would you guys load into it?
That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. You know what?
It's a coin flip between Thriller or The College Dropout.
Ooh. You know how I know you're gonna put Thriller in that mix?
You kind of need an album with a wide range of emotions to go through with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with. I'll stick with who I said was number one with M. I'll just stay there. I'll say probably Marshall Mathers LP, that first one, his second album after the Slim Shady LP.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Okay.
You got Stan on there. You got Kim. You got all the drug ballad under the influence shit. You got all that on there.
Fucking great album. Which album had a Guilty Conscience on it? That's one of my favorite songs.
I think that was Slim Shady LP.
Slim Shady LP,
Yeah. Damn.
Bro.
You know what?
Right.
I'm gonna go KOD. KOD is a hard ass album.
It's a great album, actually. Like, I almost want to fucking go mixtapes, but
Yeah.
oh, it's hard. You know what? I'm gonna go with is Faces by Mac Miller considered an album, or is that considered a mixtape?
I mean, I'd consider it an album. It was like that was when it was like independent. Yeah, I mean, he has his mixtape.
Oh, you know what? I take it back. It has to be fucking Passion, Pain, and Demon Slam by Kid Cudi. I literally bought every track one by one on iTunes instead of buying the album as a whole because I was hesitant and I didn't want to fucking buy on iTunes, but that shit was banging. So I was on mushrooms like, man, I'm gonna buy this shit.
I could have saved $5.
Seriously. Oh man, it's hard. I mean, I had Linkin Park Hybrid Theory loaded up, but I don't want to be on killer depressed mode for the rest of my life like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, though. It's got to be an album that kind of touches different ranges, so you have different moods going on. Because imagine listening to shit like, oh, I'm gonna like, you listen to emo music. That's just gonna be your mood for the rest of your life.
It's already post-apocalyptical.
Yeah,
like, God damn.
So yeah,
I'll be running around that island listening to the Marshall Mathers like this.
Yeah.
I'll find you, bro. We'll trade every time.
Let's share albums.
Please, I've been listening to Kill You on repeat.
You don't.
Motherfucker shady.
Do you guys remember? I mean, it's Nostalgic November, and we're talking about throwback shit. Do you guys remember that show, the White Rapper Show, back in the day in VH1?
You unlocked a memory,
bro. You remember that shit with fucking what's his face?
Was it
Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Holla Back?
Oh, never mind. I don't remember. I just remember somebody. I think they were like
what was the
breakdancing.
premise of this show?
So I think the winner gets a record deal, but
Okay, kind of sounds familiar.
They go through like hip hop trivia, and then they have to write like songs at the end. They have challenges where they have to write like a music video. They have to film a music video based on certain prompts. Look it up on YouTube, guys. It's pretty fucking interesting. But the winner, John Brown, he was like, I'm not a rapper, I'm an entity. You know what I mean? Like he was on that shit.
Yeah. I remember this shit.
Get a revival. That type of shit.
And there was like he had $100,000 prize in the fucking with Shamrock.
Shamrock, yeah. Which I don't think he should have won. I thought John Brown should have won that shit, bro. He was definitely. I think they went with John Brown with Shamrock because they knew John Brown was good on his own. You know, he'd already made enough of a ruckus and noise on his own. But interesting show. You guys should watch it.
I gotta check it out.
I bring it up because that's something that we also talked about. I feel like when Eminem was around, white rapper was kind of his, he owned that. Even though at that time, Fred Durst kind of, could be considered up there too, but he was in rock mostly, not really rap.
He did it all for the nookie.
Iconic though. Limp Bizkit, iconic.
but nowadays there's so many good ones right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say Macklemore. He's a big one. I don't really listen to him, but what's his face? Jack Harlow. Mac Miller's really good. There's a bunch of Asher Roth, right?
Low-key, Lil Dicky can rap. It's just funny how he uses his fucking skill.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. He can rap really good, Lil Dicky. Yeah. Shoot.
His show, though, if you ever see the show, Dave, fucking...
I gotta watch it.
It's great. If you like his rap style, he goes on his alter ego as Lil Dicky, kind of showing, it's dope. You guys should catch it on Hulu.
What's interesting about Lil Dicky is he'll rap and he knows he's a joke, but he raps so long that like 30 seconds into the rap, maybe a minute in, he's like killing you with bars. You know what I mean? To where it's like it's not even funny anymore. This guy's killing it. Yeah.
But I think that's his hook. That's why his hook is a fucking joke about it. So you listen, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh shit!" It always catches you by surprise at the beginning. Like you're laughing, like, "Damn, that shows," and then he drags you in, and he actually paints a picture for you. You're like, "Oh shit, this guy is fucking dope."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta see that show too. I haven't seen that one either. I don't get in front of the TV a lot. I'm on YouTube watching everything.
Good for you, bro. Good for you. That shit's programming anyways.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think we spoke about this on the podcast, maybe the second episode, that we talked about who the best white rapper was. And I went ahead and made a bold claim that Mac Miller is better than Eminem. What do you guys think about that?
That's pretty bold.
I mean, there's a loyal fan base that'll get upset about that, but I actually do see where you're coming with it. I feel like he is it might be a bold statement to say, I think he was underrated too. A lot of people kind of just saw him as another white rapper, but he had very good substance in his music and people overlooked that. I mean, Blue Slide Park, what I wouldn't say was his best, but then everything else
kind of whack.
Yeah, and then that last album that came out, it just sucks because that's all we're left with, and it's just like you want more, And I think I could definitely see where you get that conclusion, and depending on my mood, I might agree with you. Depending on my mood another day, I'm like, nah, it's Eminem,
Mm-hmm.
I think Mac was in his own lane, just like M. But I think lyrically, I'm from the bar standpoint. I mean, Mac Miller, those two. I don't think there's any other white rapper that's better than him. Like Macklemore, Paul Wall, even the Grouch from Living Legends. I mean, he's a hip hop lyrical guy.
Oh hell yeah, old school. Even Slug, right? Even Slug.
Yeah. Slug, yeah. But the Atmosphere, everybody that so Yeah, Mac Miller, I don't think anyone could top him except M. I'd say it's close, but like I said, they were in their own lanes. Like, because Mac had a different style, but he was still like M, where no one was saying the shit that Mac had on his wavelength. They were different wavelengths, you know what I mean? So
there we go.
Yeah, and like you said too, though, it sucks the way that we are left with things, and that's just with a lot of artists too. R.I.P. to them. There's a lot of names we could say. So,
Right.
But yeah, you said Blue Side Park. I don't know. I don't think you like that one.
No, I felt like that was just like I was excited to see he finally got a major album, but then I was just like, oh wow, this sounds very commercialized, you know?
Yeah, it was one of his like major label album, but I think it was better than the Best Day Ever, the BDE mixtape.
BD.
Besides that,
I mean, that was more like his high school. Like you could tell how young he was in that shit because it was very, very like typical. It was like YouTube. I mean, that's how he discovered just YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was like YouTube rapper. And he had all these like high school. And then I heard Nike's on My Feet with that Nas sample. I was like, damn, this shit's hard.
Hell yeah.
I think all his mixtapes slapped way harder than, like you said, the actual albums where you get a little commercialized vibe to it. Before that, he had more of the rawness to it. So I agree, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, bro? Now that I'm thinking about it, when Eminem stopped caring, that was what made it work. I feel like the same thing happened with Mac Miller. There was something that happened kind of around the time where he started fucking around with Earl Sweatshirt and Odd Future, where he stopped caring so much, right? Like, unfortunately, I think he also got into drugs around that time. You know what I mean? But when you stop caring, it also exudes a certain kind of vibe, right? Like you make the people that hear it that care too much want to be like, why can't I stop caring like that guy? He's so carefree, you know? So they listen to the music and then they stop caring about what they care about because you're going about life in a non-caring attitude, you know what I mean? And that kind of made we talked about the misogynistic thing, but I also think around this time, if you say something too misogynistic, it almost sells. You know what I mean? It almost gives you that shock factor to where it's like, oh, what'd he say? Let me hear this now. You know what I mean? Oh, it's crazy. He didn't really mean misogynistic if you listen to it. You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things. But when Mac Miller and Eminem, when they stopped caring, I feel like even though they don't believe in misogynistic stuff, like they could just say it because it rhymes and it hits. You know what I mean? And the fact that they didn't care about the social backlash of that made it subtly to the flow, but really on impact, the listeners put their own kind of thing about it. So kind of wrapping that up to you, dude, if you haven't recorded your final verse on the Wiz Khalifa track, fucking don't give a fuck because whatever you're doing is what got you there, right? So if you do anything else different, then you might not be where your trajectory got you to where you're supposed to be at. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
To bring it back.
Yeah, thank you,
man.
And you know what? I believe real recognize real. So you saying that, I think there's authenticity to that. You know, everything in its raw form, and just having that right there. You know, that in itself take you where you're going. And then, like I said, manifestation. You know, I believe in speaking things into existence. So you know, whether you write it, you say it out loud, or in your head, you're manifesting it. So that's also a big part of it in one fashion or form. So.
Hell yeah.
As an artist for you, you know, hearing obviously hip hop has changed so much over the years, and it's been debated that, you know, hip hop is dead. For you as an artist, when someone says that to you, how does that make you feel? Because it's something that you're trying to contribute to still, but people are starting to say, nah, man, hip hop is done.
It makes me upset, almost like angry, because there is a time where, you know, and I'm not judging. There's certain stuff that slaps. There's certain time and place for everything, but like mumble rap, all that, you know, hip hop's not dead because we talked about classics and timeless classics and all these legends and icons that, you know, carved the path and contributed to 50 years of hip hop. So when people say it, I said, you don't know hip hop and you haven't listened to all the hip hop that I've listened to. So
Right.
when I hear people say hip hop is dead, I just think that they're not understanding that's what commercialized and what the popular audience and the demographic considers hip hop is not that. So when they say that, I think it's very opinionated, and your opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. So
Right.
I think hip hop needs to be reconstructed in the present form and most recently, and get back to its initial ways and when it started and got to the meat of what we discussed, and get back to those ways to a certain extent, but keep the new things and try and mold them into more creative ways where it's more raw and natural, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. I feel like hip hop was also one of the most criticized genres. People are always saying there's no talent in that. That it's the only genre I've heard people like question talent. You don't hear people saying that, oh, here's Taylor Swift. Oh, she's not talented. Pop, there's no talent in pop. It's just, it seems like there's a lot of flack that hip hop gets because people don't understand how it's actually very, you have to possess a skill. Yes, you can write the song, but can you spit it? Can you put this poetry you wrote onto this beat and make people listen,
Yeah.
So I think, it's just it's one of the most misunderstood, even to this day, this hip hop. And I don't think mumble rap is necessarily helping that cause, but
mumble rap is tight.
Mumble rap is tight. I admit I like listening to it, because it's a vibe. But, for you, when people say that there's no talent or skill involved in hip hop, I'm sure as an artist, that's got to like tick you off and make you want to like shows like, no, we got skill, and like almost make you want to evolve to another level, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. In the sense that I think that you don't have to prove anything to someone, but like when those people think that, it's like you let them see on their own. You know what I mean? And let them see that here's where the action's going to take place, where you may have heard hearsay. So I think that the term dead is when something's completely gone. So hip hop will never be dead in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Never. There's just going to be new versions.
Also, the people saying that are like usually the consumers. You know what I mean? They're never really the people who are creating it and the people who are doing things for the community. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
hip hop is dead could just be, hey, all my friends are listening to electronic now, so like I don't listen to you guys no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
EDM, get some glow sticks and a bunch of X. Let's go. I'm just kidding. But no, like you said, I think that we see music at a level where, like you said, creators or certain people are at this, whereas people who just sit and listen to the radio or music have a completely different view and aspect on it. That, like I've had to completely break down to people like, do you know what they're saying in this song? And they're like, no, what do you mean? And I'm like, listen to the words. Like, yeah, but it's this. I'm like, no, it completely means this. Like I had to explain to a chick one time, a long time ago, what Soldier Boy meant, super soak that hole, and skeet man. I'm like, yeah. And then he slapped the sheet on your back and watch you run around the room, and the whole cheer group's doing a routine to it, and it's all over the radio. He's talking about busting a nut on a girl's back. You don't know what he's talking about?
Dang.
Super, you know what I mean? Like, even that dumbass shit that was on the radio, that is dumb. I mean, Soldier Boy, but whatever. So, like, people don't know music or understand even that part. It's like you're listening to this commercial song that's being played over and over in the radio station, and you have no idea what that means, what they're saying. So I think that we see and feel it way differently. Like you said, from the creator aspect, whereas it's more like you said, consume. It's just someone who's sitting there in the car every day on the way to work to radio or listen to radio. Someone that goes to the bar and then goes and plays a song on a jukebox. You know what I mean? Oh, what's pop right now? Oh, look at this new song by whoever this is. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Literally.
But it's always the artist too that kind of pushes the envelope and kind of creates something new that really blows up. It's never really someone who kind of just stayed to the old classic styles that always worked, and they always get the praise like, oh yeah, this guy's rooted, but it's always a person who kind of pushes that envelope and changes it that kind of gets more traction. So yeah, I think it's just like you said, it's more the consumer hearing the trash that, like if you just listen to radio, that's all you're going to hear. You don't know there's a wide variety of hip hop out there, and it's not what you're going to hear on the radio 24/7.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely.
I also think the people or the rappers that say rap is dead have a rock album coming out or like an EDM album coming out type shit too. You know what I mean? So
Maybe
Where's
Nas-
K4?
I'll be
That's
saying
going
that
on.
too, bro. I'll be saying that too.
Yeah. Nas ran with that, didn't come out with a rock album. That would have been weird. Where his whole hip hop is dead.
Yeah.
He
But
did a
yeah,
reggae
man.
album.
I mean, shit. I'll wrap it up with this. We talked about rock and the hippie movement kind of being CIA thing because of the drugs and stuff. And if you talk about rap now, you know what I mean? We talk about gangster shit, you know what I mean? Having more than one baby mamas and fuck it, the more you have, it's better. You're more gangster, you know what I mean? Like, do it for the money. And I don't think people know that. I think there's actually an agreement between the music industry and like the penitentiary to try to, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Dictate what kind of subjects to rap about in order to keep the rooms filled, you know what I mean? So people getting into the industry, like I said, when the gang lifestyle is what brought them in, they're living lavishly now. They kind of still have to be gang banging in order to kind of keep up that persona because that's what I did to get me there. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And they kind of fall under that trap. And to them, they're just talking about being hard, but in the bigger scheme of things, like it's kind of detrimental to the next generation. You know what I mean? So what's cool about Oriz, what's cool about Mel, what's cool about you is you guys are kind of conscious when it comes to this. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with going to the club. There's nothing wrong with, you know, going to the strip club. There's nothing wrong with any of that. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, the gang banging side that comes with rap. It's just kind of how J. Cole does it, where it's almost like a different mind frame to kind of navigate these different settings that you have been exposed to, but you've been programmed to handle in a gangsta way, you know what I mean? Or a thuggish way type shit, because a lot of people don't recognize and it's still kind of a conspiracy theory that maybe like Tupac was an actor, right? Maybe the shit that he was talking about was more of a persona, you know what I mean, than it was a real thug life kind of thing that he was promoting. And another thing that backs that up is the fact that Drake is so fucking popping right now. And I think he's so popping that a lot of the new generation that fuck with Drake don't even know about the Degrassi days that he used to be an actor. It's kind of getting to that, you know, Jordan crying meme type thing where they don't even know Jordan. They just know him as the crying face type thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you have the tools, man, to push this how you want to go without a fucking machine that is out there for, you know, fucking malicious intent to try to fucking, you know, keep people in the matrix and kind of keep people as bots to kind of be conditioned into creatures that are controlled by their vices, you know what I mean? And some of the temptations out there that's being exploited. So shout out to you. Shout out to the whole Bentley Records, man. Shout out to Oriz for bringing us together and getting you on the podcast. Where can people find you, man, outside of the cave?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You guys can find me at Quentino Pasquale on all social media platforms. Quentino, like Quentin Tarantino, _Pasquale. I go by AP. And then all my music's on every platform, 290 stores worldwide with Bentley Records. You can find it under my real name, Pasquale Panico. And we got a lot of new music coming out. Oriz dropping the track with Lil Wayne, dropping a track with Wiz Khalifa. We've got an album coming out we worked on in Vegas, and a couple other bangers too. So thank you again, guys, for having me. I appreciate everybody.
No worries, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
hey, Tupac was born in prison. His mom was a Black Panther, so I don't know how much he could be an actor, but I know Drake's parents were famous. They had big guap.
Mm-hmm.
So just to touch on that real quick, my brother.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, guys. It was an honor and a pleasure. Absolutely humbled, and I appreciate you guys having me on here, and it was a pleasure, like I said.
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks for coming through. A lot of fun, man.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. You guys be safe and continue blessings. Keep crushing it. I'll be watching. I see you guys out there. I love it.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll get you and Oriz on here.
Fuck yeah. The O,
Yeah, we're
the Y,
actually,
he says. Hey,
We're actually.
I think it was Andrew. You said in one of Oriza's, I was dying laughing. I watched it on YouTube. He's like, Oriza, are you high right now? He's like, me?
Oh, that was me.
No, he's like, no, I'm high on life. I'm high on life.
That was me. I asked him, how high are you right now, though?
You guys are dying.
I've known that guy since forever, man. So it's always been fun. It's cool seeing him up with you guys and just him blowing up and doing this track with Wayne, because he's always been talking about. He's like, man, I'm gonna do a track with Wayne, and every time I'd go to Vegas and see him. He's freestyle. He's like, I'm like, damn, this will sound like Wayne. He's like, that's my inspiration. So it's cool to see it come full circle and that you guys are all together doing this shit, man. So best of luck to you guys, man, going forward. Keep grinding. From what you said about Bentley, it's a good thing for you guys. So keep pushing.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yeah, who can say that they did a song with Lil Wayne? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or Wiz Khalifa, bro.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa. You got Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, man.
I still can't believe it, but in the grand scheme of things, like you just heard him say how long he's known Oriza half his life. He always said he was going to do a song with Lil Wayne. I said initially, and like I know you guys are firm believers in that you speak it into existence. That's manifestation. He said that a long time ago. You got to believe in that. You water your own grass first. Nothing else grows in your yard. So,
boom. Tell him.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Message.
All right, everyone. That's it. If you guys want to keep talking about rap, sports, or rabbit hole shit, make sure you guys join the Discord. Link should be in our bio or on the website cave.com. That's K4V3.com. Make sure you guys also check out our sponsors at safelightkindle.com. Stay lit for the low. Peace out, everybody. Yo.
Later, boys.
Yo.